Hello, this is Joe Pryor with the virtualrealestateteam.com in Oklahoma City, a part of Redbud Realty and Associates. And this is the second of back-to-back videos about how vacancy rate really has a strong effect on your return on investment in terms of buying residential rental property in a market. Now, one of the things that I did in the previous video is discuss, say, a place like Arizona in the Phoenix area versus Oklahoma City. Obviously, it was a hot bubble market before, and it is a different kind of hot market right now because prices sunk like a stone, 50% or more. And so people are just bombing in there buying property thinking, oh, this is a great value, and it is, but then finding out it's really hard to get rent. Now, here's where financial analysis is extremely important. This is where you need to see things on paper. You don't just need somebody saying, hey, it's a great deal here because it's cheap. They really need to know how to work the numbers. And what I want to do is talk about vacancy rate as it affects two very important pieces of the puzzle in return on investment. That is capitalization rate and cash on cash. This is going to determine how you're getting your money back on that investment. So let's take Oklahoma City for a minute, and let me give you a real-world example. We had a short sale, undervalued property, we do have them, that we sold at $100,000. So that is the total purchase price. Now, that market and that area is very, very strong, according to my property manager and his numbers. So he estimated a $1,250 a month rent. And as I said before, we have a 1% vacancy rate. But we're going to go with a 3% vacancy rate in this particular case, because when we do an analysis, we got to put some reserves in there for vacancy because you're putting out money for that investment and you're not getting anything in return. So the first thing we do is analyze capitalization rate, and this is where we take that $100,000 and then we take all your expenses out except the principal and interest that you're paying on the loan. We're estimating a 20% down 30-year loan at 4.75%. And what we're going to do is we're also going to put in things like property management fee, maintenance, because you're going to be paying that also. And then we get a number, and that compares to how much money are we getting back compared to the total investment with our leverage, total purchase price of $100,000. So if you have a 10 cap, a 10% capitalization rate, that means based on the total purchase price, you're getting 10% of your money back before debt service. And that is considered a buy by most people. I mean, I have people that constantly tell me, Joe, if you can find me a 10 cap, then that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and buy it. Now, in this case, with a 3% vacancy rate, putting that reserve in, then we're talking about an 11% cap rate. Fantastic. I mean, that is something that you absolutely should be buying if you're really serious about real estate investing. Now, let's talk about being vacant for 3 months. Let's talk about those bubble markets that are getting way too much property being purchased. Rents are going down and vacancies are going up. We're not going to go to that 6 months to 12. We're just going to factor in 3 months. Well, that 11% cap rate goes down to 7%. And that's not by most people considered to be a very, very good buy. That's how vacancy can dramatically affect your return on investment. Now let's take the second term that we use, which is cash on cash. This is where we now take your net operating income and then we take out the principal and interest that you're paying, and we come up with a number. And we compare that number to the total amount of real dollars you're out. In other words, if you bought that $100,000 house at 20% down with with $3,000 in closing costs, then you're out $23,000 out of your checking account, right? Okay. So the question is, how much of that money do you get back? How fast do you get your real dollar investment back? Well, in the case of our vacancy rate, then it's 26%. In other words, we can reasonably assume that in 4 years, very short years of those 30 years, the money that you put out, that $23,000, is coming back to you. That's money you can reinvest so much faster. That's money that you can say, I'll buy another house, and that's considered fantastic. A 26% cash on cash, getting 26% of your real dollars back is great. Now, let's go back to that 3 months of vacancy. Now, if that's the fact, then that 26% becomes about 12%, about 12 and a half. And so now we're talking about, my gosh, it's going to take me 8 years to get my money back. The vacancy rate alone doubles the amount of time from 4 years to 8 years for you to get your real dollars back. And the faster you get your money back, the more money you're making, the more money that you can take and reinvest in something to give you even a greater return. So again, remember that vacancy rate is an absolutely crucial figure. Do not believe stuff just on paper. You need proof. You need real world information. I will give you real world information, not just from me, because I don't set these rates. I don't sit there and give you pie in the sky. I go to my property manager and say, look, you show me what this is going to rent for. I don't want to know that it potentially can rent for $1,400. I want to know the real dollars. And if that's $1,250 and he quotes me the vacancy rate, that's what I put in there. And you're going to get from us real numbers. So when you're investing in real estate, do not invest just because it looks like a deal, because there may be a smell there that you may not like. And that smell is vacancy rate. And that can kill your investment. This is Joe Pryor with the virtualrealestateteam.com in Oklahoma City, where we deliver traditional real estate values at the speed of technology.